I used to do this thing before important phone calls. I'd sit there for a minute, sometimes longer, and I'd just rehearse. Not what I was going to say, how I was going to say it. And you know what the worst part was? I didn't even know I was doing it. It had just become automatic, like breathing, like putting on a mask so naturally that you forget it's there. It wasn't until someone, a coworker, someone I trusted, said to me one day completely casually, "You know, I love the way you talk. You sound like you're from somewhere interesting," that I realized I had spent years trying to erase the most interesting thing about me. If any part of that sounds familiar, this episode is for you.
Hey learners, welcome back. I'm Alex.
And I'm Maya. This is Speak Like You Belong, a podcast for non-native English speakers, people who speak English just fine, but are still working on feeling fully at home in it.
And if this is your first time here, well, you picked a good episode to start with. This one gets real.
All right, without wasting any time, let's talk about this matter.
So Maya, that story, the rehearsing before phone calls, how long did that go on?
Years. Genuinely years. And the thing is, I thought I was just being professional, careful. I thought, I'm just making sure I'm clear. But looking back, it wasn't about clarity. It was about shame.
Shame is a strong word.
It is, and it's the right one. Because what I was really saying, every time I tried to change my voice, was, the way I naturally sound is not good enough for this room. That's an apology. You're apologizing for yourself before anyone even asks you to.
And I think a lot of people listening right now know exactly what Maya is describing. Maybe not the phone call thing specifically, but that feeling. Maybe it's the way you hesitate before saying your name, because you know they're going to ask you to repeat it. Maybe it's how you lower your voice a little when you're in a group, hoping to go unnoticed. Maybe it's that split second of, should I even say this, before you speak?
All of it is the same thing. All of it is the same apology.
And here's what we want to say about that. And we're going to say it clearly, because it matters. Your accent is not a problem to be fixed. It is information about who you are, where you've been, what you've lived. It is genuinely interesting.
My coworker figured that out before I did.
Right. And that's kind of wild, isn't it? The people around us sometimes see us more clearly than we see ourselves.
So, why do we do it? Why do we shrink from our own voices? Because it's not random. There's a reason it happens. And understanding the reason is actually the first step to stopping.
Okay, so where does it come from? Part of it is just experience. If you've ever been in a situation where someone clearly struggled to understand you, or they asked you to repeat yourself, maybe more than once, maybe with a look on their face that made you feel small, your brain files that away. And the next time you're in a similar situation, it pulls out that file, and it says, remember what happened last time? Let's be more careful.
And that instinct makes complete sense. Your brain is trying to protect you. It's not wrong to want to be understood.
But here's where it goes too far. The brain stops making a distinction between situations where communication is actually difficult and situations where it isn't. Where people are perfectly happy to hear you, accent and all. It starts treating every room like a threat, even the ones that aren't.
And you start changing yourself for rooms that never asked you to. There's a study, and I find this really striking, where researchers found that people with foreign accents are actually judged as more interesting, more worldly, and even more intelligent in certain professional contexts.
And yet,
We spend years trying to get rid of the thing that might actually be working for us.
So, what does it actually look like to stop apologizing? Because it's not just a mindset thing. There are real, practical changes.
First one, stop pre-apologizing in conversation. You know what pre-apologizing sounds like? Sorry, my English isn't perfect, but... Excuse my accent, I'm still working on it. Sorry if that was hard to understand. Stop. Please.
Said with love.
Said with so much love. Because here's what that does. It tells the person you're talking to that there's a problem, that they should be noticing something, that they should be evaluating you. Most of them weren't doing any of that. You just invited them to start.
The move instead? Just talk. If they didn't understand something, they'll ask. And then you clarify, normally, without apology. Oh, I said, does that make sense? That's it. No shame, no armor. Just two people having a conversation.
And the second thing, and this one is harder, but it matters. Let your accent be part of how you introduce yourself.
What do you mean?
So you meet someone, you're doing the small talk thing we talked about a few episodes ago, and they hear something in your voice and they say, "Oh, where are you from originally?" And you have a choice in that moment. You can give the short, closed answer, United States, and move on quickly, like you're trying to get past it. Or you can open it up. I'm originally from Mexico City, came here about 6 years ago. Do you know it at all?
You just turned the thing you were embarrassed about into an interesting conversation.
Because it is interesting. Your story is interesting. Where you came from, what brought you here, what you've navigated. That's not something to apologize for. That's something worth talking about.
Okay, I want to say something, and I want to say it carefully, because I mean it genuinely. Your accent means you learned a whole other language. As an adult, most likely. Which is actually one of the hardest things a human brain can do.
People who grew up speaking only one language, they cannot fully appreciate what that took.
Every person who has ever made you feel bad about your accent, consciously or not, is a person who probably only speaks one language. And you speak two. Maybe more. Who's really at a disadvantage here?
And look, we're not saying it never stings. We're not going to pretend that there aren't moments where an accent creates friction. There are. That's real.
It's real. And it's not fair. And it's also not the whole story.
Because the whole story includes the doctor who got the diagnosis right because she understood a cultural context her colleagues missed. The engineer whose different way of approaching problems led to the solution nobody else had found. The teacher whose students trusted him because he understood what it felt like to struggle with a language.
All of those people had accents.
All of those people probably apologized for them at some point. Don't wait as long as they did to stop.
You know what I keep thinking about from Maya's story? The coworker who said, "You sound like you're from somewhere interesting." That person wasn't being polite. They genuinely meant it. And the reason Maya was caught off guard was because she had spent so long telling herself the opposite story.
Yeah. I had just accepted a version of myself that was smaller than the real thing. And I don't want that for you. I really don't. Because here's what I know. The version of you that exists in your full voice, with all of its texture and color and wherever you're from in it, that version is worth hearing. That version adds something to every room it walks into.
Your accent is not the thing standing between you and belonging. The story you tell yourself about your accent. That's the thing. And stories can be changed. Not overnight, not perfectly, but one conversation at a time.
Here's your challenge this week. And it's a simple one, but it's not easy. The next time you catch yourself pre-apologizing, stop. Don't say, just keep going. See what happens. And then come back here and tell us, what was the situation? How did it feel? This community, all of you listening, you're not just watching a podcast. You're part of something being built, conversation by conversation. And your stories matter to us.
They really do.
And hey, you sound like you're from somewhere interesting.
We'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves.